So if we click on the icon, then we've got an about screen, which has a little bit of help here, some information about process of pairing the Bluetooth controller with your Android device. So on this one here in the Bluetooth setup section, when you open up here, if it's not already paired, it will scan and you show up here. You then select it and have to, at that point, you'll have to enter in default password 1234, and it will pair the device. And once that's done, then you can connect with the Dark Blue application. So we've got a button here that lets us review some of the features of the board. We've got basic explanations of everything here. We've got an online manual, and in case you need to rewire the sensor there, reference for the wiring, the pinout of the remote sensor. Back to that screen, and you can also click on the website button, and it will launch a browser to the Home CSP website with the Darkstar page, which still needs to be updated with the new Android software. So that's the basic features of the Dark Blue app. We've got the collapsible help sections here. We can just display this diagram here if we want to. This really, you know, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, hopefully this is 1,000 words here. So going from up, you know, down to up, we've got the light level and time across the screen here. So at midnight, low light level. Sunrise, the light level comes up. We've been parked. Once the light level goes above the daylight threshold, that's when we do the east return until the light level gets bright enough to get above the sunlight level. We're going to sit there idle, and then once the sun gets bright enough for the sunlight, we'll actually do tracking. The cloud comes along, it gets too dark, we won't track at all. So the sun comes back out, keep tracking again. Gets dim in the evening, we'll be idle until the light goes below the daylight threshold, and once again we go into park mode in the night park position. So that's the basic idea here. So if we set our sunlight threshold too high, then we might be a little too you're missing out on certain opportunities. If we set the sunlight threshold too low, then we're going to be chasing off after clouds and moving around in cloudy positions where there's not a whole lot of power advantage to tracking around, and it's actually just kind of wearing out our equipment. So it's better just to inhibit the motion by setting that sunlight threshold a little bit higher. As long as we have our daylight threshold low enough that we don't park during dark, stormy conditions, and only after dusk, then everything's good there too. We won't get any false parking from dark clouds. So typically the values that come should work fairly well. I've been playing with the values here a little. I think 520, 530, maybe 450. I think 450 I think is what we've been defaulting to on our daylight threshold. It can be just a little bit lower. I certainly see my levels get down to almost 200 or so at night. So, but if you've got street lights or other things that you're dealing with, you may want to have that closer to the 400 default. My sunlight levels actually get close to 600 when it's actually tracking, so I could easily have this be much higher and get rid of extra motion, but I think we ship it with a 450 or maybe a 500 default value for the sunlight threshold. So you can play with that as you like. And you know, just by kind of under different conditions, watching and seeing what the actual value light level is there at your site. So that this really lets you fine-tune the tracker parameters by monitoring this and setting these values appropriately. And instead of having to move things around, you can plus or minus a little bit on these to effectively fine-tune the alignment, the tracking alignment, in case it's off balance. So total control for your solar tracking with the dark blue application. Nothing else like it.